Nah, I don't really want to believe that. We all can make it. We all bleed the same blood. You know what I'm saying? That's what you built your house on. You ain't building your house on what the truth is of the Bible. That Yahushua is a black man, so-called Negro.
Yeah, well, or you can build your house on a pretty good foundation. The no foundation is more solid than its truth. But you could build your house on a pretty good foundation and be right on the fucking target, the red dot of a missile, you know? Which, like the brother said, it could be thinking, oh, we bleed the same blood, and basically you have a solid foundation on believing everybody is one human and mankind and all this shit, and you could not budge on that and have a solid foundation on that, but it's never gonna be nearly as solid as the truth, of course. But that foundation, your house is gonna stand pretty well. But guess what? You know, you're gonna get a missile gonna drop on that house. You know, that house gonna be destroyed. You know. But that shaky foundation is people that get into these doctrines, or they could get into this truth, right? You know, not this truth, get into the truth, and somebody could come in and say, hey man, did you know we can actually, you know, shave your beards as long as you don't put a razor to it? Or did you know that Yahushua's name is, the Most High's name is Yahya, and his son's name is Yeshaya? You know what I'm saying? These things are building your house on a sandy foundation, because your house is built somewhere, but your foundation, like your brother said, is not level. It's going to rock this way, it's going to rock that way. So, like the scripture says, continue down the things that I has learned. Be not carried away with every wind of doctrine. Stand so swiftly for the name of the Lord. It's like having that, you know, that straight weight. You know, way straight. I'm talking about path, not the hard way, which is still a hard way, but that straight path. You know what I'm saying? Not tossed to and fro with every wind of doctrine. That's having your foundation on a solid, on cement, on metal. You know, things of that nature.
Yeah, martial law, you're gonna kick that door down.
Yeah, they ain't gonna kick that door down. We're protected. We got a mulch. You know, we got angels, we got chariots around. You know, but that you got your foundation in the middle of the street. You know, built your house in the middle of the street.
Interstate.
Yeah, on the interstate. You know, you got a shotgun house sideways in the middle of the interstate. Some gonna get, some gotta shake. You know.
Says, and it came to pass that Yahushua had ended these sayings. When Yahushua had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine, for he taught them as one having authority and not as the scribes.
That's right. And that's in the spirit, that's our big brother. That's why when we come out and we teach with so much authority, and we say, it's a bold statement to say this is the truth. You know what I'm saying? Opposed to saying that this is a religion or a way of life, this is the truth.
Or our interpretation.
Exactly, or individual interpretation. It's the truth. To say that it's the truth, that implies that everything else is a lie. And that's calling them out for their lies, for their inconsistencies, and their so-called doctrine. And then not only doing that, backing it up with the scriptures. Why? Because we had that solid foundation. It all goes back to the foundation. That's like when you was a kid. You know, first you crawled, then you walked, you know, then you started running. But if you ain't never learned to crawl, you ain't gonna never learn to run. It all goes back, it's a source to everything. And this truth needs to be your source for your life, for your spirit.
Yeah, that's a, you know, if I can add on to it, brother, it's a deep subject matter, because not only you gotta stand stiff, but in order to get somewhere and stand in a sure way, you gotta have confidence. You gotta come from somewhere. That brother said it's a source. The truth, you gotta come into the truth as babes. You know, so you desire to sit milk of babes, you know what I'm saying? But that's the only way that you can stand stiff. is by trial and error. You know what I'm saying? Once you come in this truth as a babe and you build, you know what I'm saying? You don't just drop a house somewhere. You know what I'm saying? You don't just not check the foundation. You don't just drop any type of house, because certain houses can be put certain places. You know what I'm saying? Just like you don't drop a house right where we at, because power lines right over our head. You only can go a certain height. You know what I'm saying? So basically, you gotta come in at you gotta come in from scratch. Check the ground out. You gotta get the good ground. You know, lay your foundation out, get a good foundation, and then lay your platform for your walls. Put your walls up. You know, get your walls right, your electrical wire, all that. You know what I'm saying? Everything has to take its time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, something happened. Well, everything has to take its time, but that's the only way you're gonna get it right is by starting as a babe, by starting off slow from the ground up. You can't just come in this truth and be the shit. You know what I'm saying? So you have to start over. You have to start from nothing. You know, you have to desire desire the milk as babes, basically. You know, you have to come in this thing not knowing nothing. You know, and notice the truth. You know, and be bold about it. You know, that's the only way you can get somewhere. But if you like, well, I'm about to see if this is the truth, you know, and I'm about to go over to the Islam mosque and see if they got the truth, you know, you're never going to have a real foundation going. You know, it's always going to be, let me see. Because one day, hey, they can hit a high point. You know, if you listen to Politis, if you don't know no better, you'll think he's making a point. You know what I'm saying? But because the Bible is you gotta when you deal with the Bible, we can say we have the truth, but a lot of people deal with the Bible. I just want to get on that fact. And I'm saying that because churches deal with the Bible. You got Catholics, you got fucking Mormons, you got Muslims. All these people deal with the Bible, but we say we have the truth. Why do we? Because we deal with the whole Bible, the Bible as a whole. We're not going to sit here and say we don't believe in the New Testament, or we don't believe in Yahweh Shai, we don't believe in the name, we don't believe in the second coming, we don't believe in the Old Testament. We're not going to say all that. We believe in the whole Bible. Just like when people come up, a lot of things that, if I don't know what to tell a person off the bat, I'll let them know that they say, what you're doing, you know, we're reading the Bible, the whole Bible in its sincerity and truth. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much what we're doing. You know, these churches don't do that. These mosques don't do that. Because guess what? If you do, it'll eventually cut you, because the Bible is 100% well-rounded, man. It covers all areas. Okay? From your finances, your character, nations, and everything. You know? All these other, like that doctrine polite and them guy, it don't cover everything, man. They talk about building the community up, but what about why you moving outside of the community? You know what I'm saying? That's a fault in that system. Why would you move outside of a community that you're trying to build? You know what I'm saying? Maybe because that community ain't safe. That's not a good foundation to lay your house. You know? So their doctrine is too faulty, man. You know? You're Egyptians, why don't you go back to Egypt? You ask us why we don't go back to Israel or Jerusalem, so to speak. We're gonna bring out a scripture and say that land's polluted. That place got to be blown sky high by thermonuclear missiles, which is fire, to cleanse that land. Okay? There's no loopholes to this doctrine, man. You know? This is the best place to put your foundation. You know? You can get into Egyptology. It'll have you with a pretty solid foundation on a debate. But when it comes to how to get a house and mortgage a house and all that other bullshit, but they ain't gonna give you a foundation for the future, man. Okay? For the destruction of America, for the build a black community. Because there's no way you can build a community when be a what's that shit called? When you separate yourself from the government.
Sovereign?
Yeah, when you can become sovereign. There's no way you can successfully become sovereign when you and the land motherfuckers are still ruling over you, man. You know, that's impossible. There, you can say, "Oh, fuck with y'all." Like, Israel was sovereign from Rome, but they still was under servitude under them, man. You know, at the time, because Israel had their own laws. They had the Passover, they had all these other things. But in order to crucify Yahushua, who they had to go to? Okay, they had to go to the Romans. Okay, and then when Pilate didn't want to crucify him, who did the Israelites say they gonna call on Pilate? The Caesar. You know, so they were sovereign though. They celebrated the Passover. They kept their laws. Okay, but they weren't successfully sovereign. They had the answer to the government, man. Okay, so basically, you know, polite shit. That shit ain't gonna have you successfully sovereign. Taking down the so-called white man and every kingdom he has and his ideals. That's how you become successfully sovereign.
If I could just speak on that one aspect that you were talking about being sovereign or whatnot, the idea of being sovereign. This is a corporation. You don't understand that America is in a corporation